Hi, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. As you soon realized, I'm speaking in English because today we're going through the episode where we interview one of our Blue experts. In this case, I'm speaking in English because we're going to interview someone from our European office, which is Alina. So, Alina, she is our chief of staff from the European office, and she's with us for over 5 to 6 years now, right?
5.5.
5.5. So please introduce yourself. Who's Alina?
Well, yeah, as you mentioned, I'm the chief of staff at Blue Europe, and my position is pretty much about everything in the company. I need to know everything, and
Quite easy position.
it is. Yes, you just do magic, and then you report it to the top.
So we have Jonas on top of you, which is
Yes.
our CEO there, and you're just below him doing everything, managing everything, knowing about everything.
Pretty much that's it. Yes, I need to work closely with Jonas and make sure that he has the overview and he is not bombarded with the tasks. So some of the things that I can do myself, I do it myself with the chief of operations and the chief of marketing, and then also with the other managers that we have at the office. So it's a lot about the teamwork, and then you have to do the magic with the teamwork.
Okay, so we're gonna come up to this stage where we know about the magic you do today. But before getting to that position, I would like to know you better, which is why we do this podcast, to learn about stories, to learn about backgrounds, to learn about track records. So when we speak about that, when we speak about a child version of Alina, how would that be?
Wow. Let's start. I was born in Moscow, in Russia.
Okay.
And from the beginning, I was a child that was always active. I needed to try lots of different things.
Interesting.
Like I couldn't stay still. Like I needed to go everywhere, check everything. Like if my parents would leave me somewhere, I would just escape and investigate the environment. So I think that is something that built up the curiosity in myself that I have with my personality, and this curiosity drives me through everything I do. Like for me, it's important not only the process but the final result, because I have my own visions, and I would say it comes from the sport, because I used to do some sports when I was a kid, and you build the competition that you have to do, because we were like in a team sport. I did volleyball. So you have a team and you have to achieve the result. And you have the process, but at the same time, I really enjoy seeing the result. So here is that where I have a mix. And for me, the curiosity works on both sides for that. So yeah, and let's say after this part of my personality, I had the school, and my parents did everything possible for me to have the best education.
Amazing.
So yeah, that was quite important for me. They were giving me lots of books when I was a kid. I started reading like when I was 4.
Wow.
And I spent lots of my time reading things. I remember that the first things that I was reading were like Greek mythology, and I got obsessed with that. Then I have like
4 years old, reading Greek mythology.
Yes.
Okay.
I was not really understanding much of it. And of course, like the books were censored for the kids. So it's not the original Greek mythology, but the names, the
Yes.
stories, and that was super interesting. Then I moved to dinosaurs. Then I moved to pirates, and I wanted to be a pirate. So yeah, when everyone was thinking about being like businessmen, entrepreneurs, I was like, I want to be a pirate.
Okay, totally fine.
My parents were like very amazed with my personality and how I grow. And then another part that was very important for them is to bring me to the international environment. So I got the opportunity to study English very early and be presented in the kindergarten before school, the preschool, with the dances, with the arts classes and everything. So I could try as much as possible when I was a kid, so I can realize what type of personality I am. I could see the things for my future and like get a wider idea of what life is. And that is actually really amazing, because like we were doing lots of different things. Like we were starting with the art classes where you do like little sculpture. Of course, it's like a crooked sculpture because you're a kid. But the idea of how you visualize things and how creative you become is on the next level. And then we had like a theater, and then we had like a music classes mixed with math. So it was quite an amazing thing that I did. And I was able to try lots of different hobbies that actually later formed my personality in the, let's say, teenage years. So yeah, and after that, the school starts. I had like a normal school, but then in the higher school, I was already presented with the A-level program. So I did the 2 schools at the same time.
Okay.
And again, like it was hard at the moment when I was there. But now I actually understand that when you're a kid, you're like a sponge. So whatever you give to the kid is able to do. So
it's going to absorb.
Exactly. And it is so cool to see how you evolve. And one of the regret that I have is that when I was at the school or university, I had lots of free time that I didn't think about, that I have lots of free time. And like, it was very important for me, like, I want to chill, I want to be with my friends. That is very important thing. But I would recommend everyone to be like more, try to learn things. Because like you have biology, chemistry and everything. Maybe you don't like it. Maybe you don't like it when you're at school, but...
May I interrupt you for a while?
Sure.
I just want to start making some questions because most of the things is, everything that you just shared happened in Moscow, right?
Yes.
Most of the people that are going to watch us, they're from Brazil, and we have 2 very different perspectives. All of the kindergarten that we have here and the process when people get into school and go from school to high school, they're very different. So I believe that our process of education, they're quite different. So I would like to explore that a little bit more for people to, get an immersion on your culture and how things were established for you to have a better idea of how you were raised on that environment. So when you were on the kindergarten, you said that your parents brought you a new thing, which is the vision of something from an outside world from the one you previously enjoyed as a child. And how was that for you? To have access to a school or a kindergarten where something totally different from what you had experienced so far would come through. Like, how was that?
Well, I remember that I really wanted to go to kindergarten because I was quite independent child. So I didn't really want to stay home, watch cartoons. I was like, I want to go there. I want to play football, and I want to go to do some like painting. So it's like in myself, I feel like there are many, not personalities fighting with each other, but like I'm very curious as a person. Like everything that seems nice to me, I want to try it. And even though I think that, this might not be for myself, I would not say no, not to try it. Because I think that you cannot really understand if you like it or not without getting it and understanding what is the process. And sometimes you find yourself liking it, even though you thought that it's not. So it was hard because like you need to go out of your comfort zone. Even when you're a kid, you need to leave your mom. You need to stay alone and try to build yourself up. But I really enjoyed it. I remember that I didn't really have any problems going to school. I was not like, I don't want to go to school or kindergarten. I wanted to go. I wanted because you have your friends. Maybe you have not friends or frenemies.
Okay.
But it's also a process that you have to face and learn for your future. So yeah. Like for me, it was not a challenge. It was something that I was like, it's a part of my life. I need to do it, and there's not a problem about it.
And then you said that a little bit further on your story, you told about A school, right? Or something like it.
A-level.
A-level?
A-level.
What is A-level?
Well, it's the UK education, the British system of educating. It's a part of an Edexcel. So we had like a normal school, the Russian one, the like normal education that you have. And then I had, after the Russian school, I had the second school that is A-level. It was remote. So I was studying in Moscow, but for a college that was in UK. And it's pretty much the program that makes the foundation for the British university.
Get it.
I wasn't really thinking about going to the British university. I went to the university in Moscow. but I still had that base that in case I really want to change something, I'm able to do that. So it's always like having plan A and always having a plan B. So it's not that I could be like disappointed, but then I have to cope with it for the rest of my life because I don't have any other option. Is that always have a plan B.
But how does that work when we're talking about subjects that people usually have on school? Because, for instance, I was discussing with Connor and Sam during the lunch today about the British school system, and it's very different here in Brazil because Sam shared that you would able to choose between some specific subjects that you can deep dive into and get better on that, because that would be the foundation for you to go to the university afterwards. And here in Brazil, it works totally different. I mean, you're not able to choose which subjects you want to go through. You have like a fixed grade and you need to go through that. There's no option. And then when we are on our high school, you have the opportunity to do, I could say it's a kind of an A level, but it's like a professional school alongside with the regular school you have. So on the regular school, you have subjects from a regular school like math, chemistry, physics, and all those stuff. And on the other one, it's a professional part of your study. So you have like a pre-engineering, you have like a pharmaceutical. So it's something that you're going to have some specific subjects, and you're going to go through that to understand if you're going to do that as a college afterwards. But it's totally separate from the regular school, and most of our people, they don't do it. So it's totally optional, and in most cases, they're not done on the same place. So you have your regular school where you go in the morning, for instance, and then you need to look after another entity that are going to have this professional school. So this is what we have here, which is, I think it's totally different than what you got there, right?
Well, not really, I would say, because the Russian school, at the time when I was studying, because of course there's always a changing, but in the time when I was studying in the school, I had like a fixed set of the subjects that I have to learn. So you cannot choose anything. You just have it in the program, and the program is approved by the government. It's licensed, and this is what you have to study, and it's pretty much equal to all the schools there.
Okay, so it would be the same then.
Yeah, I would say so, because like you cannot quit biology and choose astronomy instead of it. But I remember myself, I was like, I really enjoyed the system where you can choose subjects, and by watching like some of the movies, you could see like the cool classes and everything, and then you think that, oh my God, I don't want to go to chemistry because I need chemistry. I'm not thinking about like my life connecting to the chemistry. But now I'm actually happy because all of that makes you not an expert as a things, but at least you get the general knowledge in the life. And for example, I remember that in biology classes, I had a very big problem by studying the genetics when you need to do the equations with the genes. And now I'm actually needed to refresh that because I'm thinking about the dogs and my dog, why he is this color and not another one, or what is happening with him sometimes, how was his parents. So by choosing my dog, I needed to actually think about genetics in some way, in a very basic, but that would be enough if I studied really nicely biology and remembered what was there. So it was really cool. And then, yeah, like for the another school, the A level, of course, it's another entity that brings that expertise there. And like, of course, it's a paid one. So you can choose to get it if you have the opportunities and the possibilities. That's great. But sometimes you just don't go for there, and you are focusing on studying for the exams, because we have at the end of the school, we have to pass the united exam for all the students to apply for the university. So it's kind of an admission thing. So.
And then that was your part, I think, on your teenage years. And how was that compared to the beginning of your working life? I mean, what were you thinking back then as a career, as something that you would do maybe for the rest of your life? I mean, how did you plan that from that standpoint, or the maturity you had back then?
Yeah, I had to give up the idea of being a pirate.
Okay, it makes sense.
Yeah, That
Or
was
maybe you
the-
could
the-
be a pirate alongside with being a chief of staff. Who knows?
Yeah, I wish, but not possible. So, well, that's a hard question because when you're a teenager, like you have your, like I was really like a maximalist in every point. Let's say I was like, no, we need to do this. I need to change the world. I have to all of that. So the career that I was thinking of was the public administration.
Okay.
I was really thinking that if I will become somewhere like in the body in the government, if I will get any position there, that would really change my life. Then I had like a plans also related to public administration about, let's say, World Health Organization, to work with some of the programs and the strategies. I was quite really interested back in time in the idea of like epidemics, viruses and stuff to see how you can prevent this. Then I was thinking about United Nations program and everything because I was like, wow, that's a very international and interesting institute to join.
May I add a question here?
Yeah.
One thing that you said is that you wanted to change the world somehow. And by having a position on the government and stuff, United Nations, as you just mentioned, you have a very big impact on people. So would you tell us that you wanted to impact people somehow?
Yes, I would say so because maybe not in a direct way to be a person or role model or something. Like I was not thinking about that. I was thinking to be a person behind the curtain that can take decisions that will make people's lives better.
Amazing.
So, and I really thought at that time that by being in somewhere in the government or in these international authorities, you can get to that. Probably you can. Now I think I've changed a bit my mind, so I'm believing more in like a business approach.
It's just a little bit more bureaucratic.
Yes.
Just a small piece.
Just a bit. It's okay. So yeah. And well, the idea was that I want to do the public administration to understand that. And I actually did that. I entered university that was focused on the public administration. And I got into the program of public administration. But I think like year after I understood that this is something that I would never do. So to me, university became a point that the dreams that I had, I was like, okay, I will do anything, but not that. So this is how my life turned. And then I started, because I was like, never, ever, ever, I'm going to work for the company. I want to work with the government because this is the only way that I can do something good and feel myself it's also a lot about egoism that you have there, because when you want to do something good, it's, of course, you have some part of the, well, this is my opinion. So, of course, you have some part of helping people, but at the same time, you feel better yourself to help people. So it's also a way of how you fulfill yourself. So I have to admit it, that it's not only for like a positive interest, it's also a lot about yourself as the like egoism, the healthy egoism as you can have as a person. So that was the idea that I had.
But then let's say that you started that because you wanted to, of course, feel better and feel fulfilled by helping people, by having a important position in the government, and you would be able to impact a lot of people and make their lives better somehow. And then you entered the process. Maybe you realized everything that you have behind the curtains. And what actually happened there? Like, what was the game changing that you realized that you just thought that I'm not doing what I want to do? I want to do another thing.
Yes. What happened is that there were a couple of reasons. So first of all, one of them was the system that you call the system, that if you become the part of the system, it's quite hard to change the whole system.
Yes. Either you be part of it or you're out of it somehow.
Exactly. So I was started getting like doubts in myself that if I will be able to refuse the system and be that person who changes it, maybe not. Like, quite nothing is impossible, but some things might be. So you have to accept that sometimes you can lose. Another thing was that I started thinking about the paradox of the power, is that even if I have a power and I want to have like a good intentions to use that power, like I will not be able to make everyone happy. So my idea of how the people can be happy is contradicting to someone else. So they will be unhappy with what I think the happiness is. So you cannot make everyone happy. And that's why my power that I could use would be also used against some of the people. So I was thinking, like, if there is really a way of how you can manage your power and make people happy, and I'm not really sure that it's possible, because again, like the concept of that my freedom ends where the freedom of another person starts, but it's always clashes, because I want to say something but person doesn't want to hear it. So he has the right not to hear it, I have the right to say it, but if I say it and use my right, he will not be able to use his right. So it's always like a paradox of the things, and this power play became not my thing. And also what you mentioned is bureaucracy, it's another thing. Bureaucracies, licenses for everything, like taxes, all of these instruments that the government or these big authorities use is something that I don't really appreciate myself. I think that the world can be better without them. But when you get into that system, it's impossible to change it, because this is basically how the system exists.
But then I really enjoyed what you just shared. Like, I would say that you ran through an existential crisis, because you were about to achieve a power, and then you had a belief that you could use your good thoughts or your good intentions to change people's lives on a better way. But then you just realized that some of the people might not agree with you, and then you wouldn't be able to achieve that very important role on people's lives, and not everybody would feel impacted in a good way by your actions.
Yes.
So how did you manage to go through that thing? Because I would say that most of the people would rely on therapy to get to know yourself better, and which is a very important and good thing to do, actually. But back then, you were a young adult, let's say, which is when you're on your final stage of forming your personality, which is something that you're bringing up since you were a kid. So you ran through several different experiences. All of those experiences, they summed up to build your personality, and you were on the last part of what you really believe and what would you do to impact the world in a somehow positive way. So you started to have these kind of crisis. So how was that for you to go through that and realize that, I mean, the main point here is that it doesn't matter what you do, you're not going to be able to impact every single person in a positive way, because we're talking about different people with different beliefs and different track records, different stories, and it kind of clashes. It's something that we cannot control. So how you ran through that with the maturity you had back then?
Well, it was I cannot really say it was hard for me, because I'm a very stubborn person.
Okay.
But I have to give it up sometimes, and I have to admit that there are people with different beliefs, different opinions, and that is okay. Like,
yes.
that is fine. You can live in that world, and it's actually nice to have like the differences, because it's quite interesting, and like you can have a discussions. You can evolve yourself, because like when you have all of this, you can change your opinion. You can think. You can bring in the argument. Someone can bring you a different point of view. So this is what I start going through, is actually understanding that the world is not like the way how I want to think about it. I wanted to be a part of something big all the time. So I wanted to feel that I'm not alone and I'm with something really impactful. And I think right now I can say that I'm there, and my position helps me to actually impact people, because if I need to achieve something, I have to speak to people, and they sometimes bring me their issues, doubts, so you can resolve them. So back in time, I didn't know that the life will turn that way, of course, and that I will be somehow magically in a different country with completely different idea of what my life is. But back in time there, I was like, okay, let's figure out what we can do, because this is not something that I want to become. This is the education that I get. But because I didn't want to drop the education, I didn't want to change anything. I was pretty comfortable also. Like sometimes you don't want to drop things, even if maybe it could be better, but you don't want to drop them because you're pretty comfortable or you are afraid to do things. Maybe I was part of like okay, I don't really want to change my life now. So I was thinking, how can I get the best of the current situation I am in and think of what I can do next? So then I was like, okay, my education may not finish here. Like university does not mean that this is exactly what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. So I was like, okay, first thing, acceptance of this part and understanding that then I can change my career, I can do another education, or I can just get the career in a different sphere and learn it by doing things, not only the theory, but the practical ones. Mm-hmm. So that was the first part. The second part was to be like, okay, I think I have to educate myself more on different subjects. So you start reading more of like philosophy, or you start understanding like basic concepts, like not I'm actually regretting that there I was not really studying much of the history, much of philosophy, because I really had lots of time, lots of free time that I think now I could invest differently. Mm-hmm. Because it's like the argument that I give myself to not do things sometimes.
But that you shouldn't blame yourself for that, right? I mean, we are talking about maturity all the time. And when you were back then, I mean, you didn't have the hat you have today, so.
Well, I'm not blaming myself for that. I'm just regretting that part. But of course, I'm not going to be like fixated that, oh my God, this is something that I did bad. Like my life is ended here and I cannot do it. I can change it always. Like I can. And great thing is that now you have all the instruments to educate yourself that you can get. You can get courses, you can get podcasts, you can really like use ChatGPT to educate yourself. So it's not necessary to go to university anymore. Mm-hmm. Like you can get all the set of the skills that you think of by doing things and just checking some of the information online. And I'm really pro this type of education. Like I'm okay with people not getting to university. Mm-hmm. I think it's fine. So because you can learn a lot on the other sources.
You do have a lot of information sources today. I mean, people just need to learn how to dig it out and use it properly, because most of the people, they unfortunately use it just on the surface instead of looking of what you can deep dive into it and get different sources, different perspectives, different alignments, and then you can build your own perspective or vision about things, subjects, or whatever you're reading. But I'm totally with you on that quote. I mean, and if I don't know if on Moscow or Marbella, which is where you live today, the system is the same. But when we speak about universities here in Brazil, most of the courses we have here, they're outdated. So if you're going to go for a marketing perspective, like the course you're going to have today, it's basically the same over tons of years. So a few changes were applied to the course itself, the grade, to the subjects that they teach. But it's not something that is going to give you a very good introduction to the market whenever you start to work with that on your professional life. So it's very interesting to have that perspective. Like, and I also agree that people, they should have their own experiences going over the information sources we have today, even though I also tell them to go through the university, because you have like a discipline of going to school and studying and having that difference between the kind of knowledge you can acquire by yourself versus the kind of outdated content you get from school. So I think this school can even give you a good basis from how it was, and you're studying out how it should be. So it's a good perspective for any professional that is starting their lives. But I'm totally with you on that quote.
Great. Yeah, because there's a narrative that you have to go to university.
Yeah.
What I've enjoyed of the university part is that you have the society, you have like a networking.
Yes.
And this is the thing that you have to definitely do if you are with the opportunity of going to the university. It's build your networking. And another part is that universities gave me the idea of how to do the research. So we were doing some of the works, like a thesis or like a coursework that you have to do. And that actually taught me how to do the screening of the information, how to read through lines, how to compose things. And like it's the way of thinking. It's universities changing a bit the idea of how you can think. But even without that, it's okay. Like you can just educate yourself in a different ways. So it's good if you can have it, but if you want to focus on the different things, totally fine. So yeah, back in the in the question how I recuperate from existential crisis is basically I'm not really sure that at that time I understood that it's my changing of the values thing that happened. So I was just trying to figure out the solution, because I would say that there is an idea that goes through my line or through my life as a red line, is that if something is not working, find a different way. I think I came to that part from the movie. It's the movie that was amazing. It's the National Treasure with Nicolas Cage. And he was saying, like, Thomas Edison said that, like, I found it 1,000 ways of how not to build the lamp. So I just need to find the one that is right. And this is actually something that affected me. I remember that. I was like, wow, that is something that I can bring in my life. Because, you know, like, you pick up some concepts and you would just like them. So that would happen with me. And I was like, okay, look, I may have like the way of how it's not working. So I just need to find something that will work for me. And of course, at the beginning, when you start doing things, you don't know if it's going to be your life. Like when I joined Blue, that was a total luck / coincidence / I don't know, whatever, like something that was unexpected happened in my life. I've never thought that the journey will become that way, because I was like, okay, it's just the work, let's say. But now I'm in a completely different state of mind. Like Blue stays with me for past 5 years, almost 6 years. And it's like I've been in the different positions in the company, and I've grew from the administrative assistant who was like ordering fruits to the chief of staff. And now that I look back on myself there, I'm like, wow, that's been like 3 times like different crisis and the changing personality and changing the approach. But where I am now, it's amazing. So did I think about that myself? No. Did I see that happening? No. I was just doing my best, and I was just curious about what I can do better and what my life could be if I change something here, or if I do something differently, or how it will be. So it's just the curiosity that leads me through the life. And if something is not working, I'm like, okay, let's change it and let's do it differently.
But I mean, there's something that is not being put out by you, but it's very necessary to say about that, which is the clarity that you were seeking on your personal life as well, because you were able to see the opportunities. And most of the people, they just complain about my life never changes. And you were not that kind of person. You were seeing things happening. You were seeking for clarity. You were, as a curious person, you were seeking for more acknowledgement. You were seeking for whatever you could do best for yourself. So even though you ran out of that crisis, a lot of things changed on your life, but you were always trying to align that, your professionalism with your personal life and how things would go. I mean, even though you didn't plan how things happened, you were prepared to that. Or even if you were not prepared to that, you prepared yourself to go through the process. So if that's an opportunity and I'm getting an open door, let me go through the door, understand the environment, which we can make like a parallel when you were a kid, that you just said that you were that curious kid and you were always analyzing, you were escaping and analyzing the environment. We can say that you do that for your life until today, because whenever you see those open doors for you, you cross the door, you check the environment, you improve yourself to be in that environment and be the best version of yourself. So I could say that if you begin as an assistant and now you have a C-level position, it's because you were always seeking for that. So it's something that you didn't pull out, but it's something that is very interesting and it should be pulled out because it's something that we don't see every single day on a person. It's a very good quality of yourself.
It is, but even though I was like that when I was a kid, of course there were moments in my life when I was a completely different person and where I had like bad times. So that is something that that was happening. Like there were times that I was feeling myself like frustrated or lost, like not knowing about my future.
You're not robots.
Exactly.
It's totally fine.
Yeah, but you know what I did there is that first of all, people help you. And make sure that you surround yourself with the good people, the people that will elevate you instead of like dragging yourself down. Because if you will be surrounded with the people that be like, it's okay not to have time. It's okay to be tired all the time. It's okay not to do things. It's okay to skip gym. It's okay to eat bad food or like a fast food every day because you're tired. That is excuses that you put yourself.
Yes.
And I think that another thing that my parents did is that they actually raised the standards really high for myself. Like they were all the time pushing me to be like, this is not the limit. Like, no, we know you. You're our daughter. This is not the limit for you. It's way further. Like go there, try it there. Mm-hmm. And I think right now I regret, I think in the modern world that the people are more like, it's okay. It's okay. Give yourself another excuse. I'm actually not a person who would like to use excuses. And even if I'm like, okay, today I'm not going to do this. I'm tired. I did enough. I'm like, no, that is your brain that is twisting you and just giving you the excuses because your brain doesn't want to work. So it's a lot that maybe people will not agree with me and it's completely fine. But for my life, it's not working. Like I don't let myself to have excuses not to do things.
But then you make another parallel with life, and then you check the reason why you got in the position you're in today, because you're never in your comfort zone and you always seeked for something better. So if you have that kind of standpoint for your life, you're going to improve yourself and you're going to grow, which is, again, the same quote that I said before, like people want to have different results by doing the same thing. It's not going to happen. So you need to do something different. You need to put yourself out of your comfort zone and just go for it. I mean, have something that puts you gas so you can just, wake up and come on, let's make it happen. Yeah. So it's very important. It's another important quality that you should really pull out because it's, again, something that, you're chief of staff. You look for people and the kind of people you have contact with most of the time, maybe interviews that you do there, you see a lot of young people with no perspective in life, and then you see like, what the fuck you're doing here, man? Right.
Well, yes, I could really agree on that. And I would say it's the thing that brought me up on top where I am now from compared to the top compared to where I was, is that you just have to do things. Without doing things, like don't expect that there will be a result. You can do things wrong. That is completely fine. This is where I'm like, okay, it's okay for you to go wrong direction because everyone can go there. Everyone can do mistakes. That is completely fine. The only thing that you have to understand that you can do a mistake. You have to admit that you did a mistake. And you have to find a way of how not to do that mistake again. Or even if you do that mistake again, try to see what brought you there. Mm-hmm. Like what is a pattern that you're repeating. So it is where like my creativity, curiosity, and stubbornness helps me, is that I'm like, I want to do it. Mm-hmm. I want to do it better. Mm-hmm. Next time I want to do it even better. And I'm just focused on how to solve things instead of be like focused on what is the problem, that there might be another problem. It's a lot that you have to work with your thinking. And I don't want to sound as some delusional coach of life, but it is a lot about your mentality. It is a lot about the people that surround you. It is a lot about how you see yourself. And you should not see yourself as the victim of this life. Exactly. You should see yourself as the person who will be responsible for your life and the way how you can make your life. Of course, things will not work the same. Like I didn't become chief of staff right after the administrative assistant. I did quite many other positions in the company. So it was a process. It took me 5 years and a half to get there. But it is something that I've learned. It is something that I didn't give up when I could, when I was thinking to give up on the hard things that I was experiencing in the career, in my personal life and everything. You could give up, but I didn't let myself to give up. And it was hard because you were like, I don't know, like a bag of sand that didn't want to wake up today and didn't want to do things. So it's like giving yourself an excuses not to do things, be like all the time with the bad attitude, treating people not in a nice way. But then it was like a month like this, and I was like, okay, look, this is enough. This is not who you are. You have to build yourself up again. And it is like, I'm not saying that if tomorrow you start surrounding yourself with good people and they do something differently, you will become the dream that you visualized yourself. But in some way, in a couple of months, in a period of a time, you will see yourself there.
I really got a very interesting quote recently that is, everything that is big was born small. And it's everything about the journey. So the thing is that people, even today on this new generation and stuff, they're forgetting about the journey because they're just being exposed to results. So when we speak about like social media and people are always spending their free time on it, you're only seeing results. So you see perfect bodies, you see millionaire people, you see only good results. You don't see people struggling on their daily basis to get there. And even when you see like the people selling courses, like to be there, it's always about results. So no one tells you that it was difficult. And this is the game changer. Like when you realize that what you call stubbornness, I would call discipline. It's like when you realize that life is about small actions that you take every day based on discipline, that's what's going to take you to a victorious place. And this is the game changer. Like, it's just as you said, you started as an assistant. You didn't become a chief of staff just by a year. You spent 5 years working in the company, giving yourself the best, doing a lot of different things, being put on different positions, growing from that opportunities you had. But you were always seeking to be better. So you had your discipline. I mean, on those 5 years you spent in the company, you had the days that you woke up with no will at all. Like, oh, come on, I'm tired. I want to be here in the bed. I want to spend another hour here. But then your stubbornness was like, hey, you're not going to grow by doing that. Come on, let's go. And then you realize that by that day and the other day and the other day, taking that discipline to happen brought you to where you are today. So it's like this conjunction of small actions that made you a big turn and victorious on your life. So getting some steps back, I want to make a question. Okay. Every part of the story you told us so far, you were in Moscow. And now, all of a sudden, you're in an office in Marbella, which is in another country. How did that happen? I mean, what happened that you want to leave like Moscow and try another country? And how was that?
Well, I remember that day that my father came to me and he was like, have you thought what you're going to do after the university? After you finish it? And I'm like, we had like 4 years of university. It was on the third year. So I had like 2 more years being left.
I'm interrupting you again. Sorry for that. But you were doing public relations. Yes. And then you dropped public relations. No.
I stayed with public relations.
And you went into graduation. So then you were in the third year of your public relations course.
Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, I was doing that. And my father came to me and he was like, did you think what you're going to do when you finish the university? And I was like, yeah, probably like gonna look for the job or see if I need to do another thing. Like, I'm going to figure that out. Don't worry. Like, I'm not going to stay doing nothing. Like, it's not what I see for myself. Like, I cannot just stay still
Sure.
since I was a kid. So he was like, okay, I was thinking maybe you can go somewhere abroad, like for a year of exchange, like maybe do the MBA somewhere, maybe do the master's if you want. So I was like, okay, that could be an interesting experience. Why not? Why not to try that? Because I like to study things. I like it. I like the process. So I started thinking, and funny, it was in 2017, we were thinking, what is the industry that will never die? And I was thinking that it's the travel. So I was like, okay, look, maybe the hospitality, maybe travel, something completely different. Like it's a business, it's the hotels, it's the restaurants, it's the service. It's not the public administration, but it's the service. It's different way of making people happy when you serve them in a good way. So I was like, okay, look, the hospitality seems interesting. And we started looking for the hospitality schools. And we found Les Roches, that is quite big in the hospitality as the brand, as a name. And they have different campuses. So I was thinking between the two schools. It's the Les Roches that was in Switzerland, Marbella, and in Marbella as well. They had two campuses that I was thinking about, and another one was Glion, that was located in London. And I had lots of friends living in London, so I was like, oh, I want to go in London because I was that like a person who enjoys like the British culture and of course like a pop culture that affected me a lot. So it's like a dream to be in London.
A-level back in the day?
Yeah, A-level back in the day. So everything was like aligning as another path. And I was like, okay, London, my friends there, big city, quite completely different from what Moscow was. I was like, okay, look, that is what I'm gonna do. And then I remember that I went in the meeting with the counselor. Like he was explaining me about the different programs, and he was like, why don't you try Marbella? They have like a summer program. And I was like, okay, why not? Because I'm gonna be in the city next to Marbella in the summer, like
what a
on
bad
the
advice
vacations.
to go to Marbella in summer, right?
It is, well, to study.
Yes.
So I was like, okay, why not to go? Why not to try to go there? And then I went, and I really enjoyed the place because it was very nice. And I was like, okay, look, maybe here will be a great idea. Instead of like cloudy and rainy London, I could be in a very sunny and relaxing Marbella, like vacation life, living by the sea. Maybe I have never, ever in my life will experience that because I was thinking that I'm a city girl. So I want to be like in a big city, like a megapolis with the skyscrapers that I'm like, oh, it's amazing. So yeah, I was thinking maybe like a relaxing life in the sea will help me for 1 year. And then I went in the university there. So we applied for that program. When I finished, I graduated, and I knew that I'm going there, so I just went there. I started studying. I was fine because my program was the marketing and the luxury tourism, so I started marketing. And I was like, ooh, that's very interesting because we got to know some of the different brands. We did like a secret shopping. Then we did in the real estate, some of the marketing. Then we got to the LVMH group to do some of the project for like a Kinzo or for Moyot and Chandon. So it's like lots of different brands that you do like different courseworks. And then the hotel that you need to do some kind of branding of the hotel. So it was really interesting experience. And I was like, oh, that is something that I really like now. So maybe I can see myself there. And then I will start looking for the internships in that area. But at the end, I don't know why, but I don't remember why. But I stayed for the internship in my university, working for the university a lot with the students, a lot with the events. So I was there. And then I was like, okay, the internship is almost over. I have to think about getting a job. And then I start looking for the jobs. And then I remember like at some point I was almost about to give up because it's quite hard to find a job without having the necessary paperwork, without having the the paperwork basically, or the Spanish that I didn't have, and you have to find something like in Spain, so you have to know the language. So yeah, I was like a bit pathetic there. Like,
okay.
At some point, like, okay, nobody, like, I'm so amazing, but nobody is responding to my CV. Like, why no one is calling me? And then I was like, okay, that's quite strange. So I started sending more CVs. I started going more to the people. I started like knocking on the doors and be like, yo, here's my CV. Like, maybe you will have something. So yeah, it was like an embarrassing experience, but that's something that I was like, I have to find the job. Like, you have to try that.
I can't believe that you knock at Jonas's door.
No.
Did it happen?
No. I remember that I applied somewhere in a very rare website that I was like, this is scam or not. So yeah, I was like applying somewhere, and I don't even remember what was that. Maybe I actually applied a couple of times from different websites. And then I remember that I received like a message, invitation to the interview, and I was like, okay, what it is? I don't remember applying, because I was applying to so many companies that I was like, I don't understand. We could say
you were a little bit on a despair, right?
Yes, I was like, oh, I have to, because if not, then I have to go back in Moscow and everything. But I was like, oh, I kind of want to live in the sea, more next to the sea. So why not? Why not to try to work abroad if I can? So yeah, that was the thing. And then, yeah, like I received the invitation to the interview, and I was like, okay, let's go and try it. Why not? So I went, I had the interview, and then with Jonas and Robert.
Amazing.
So yeah, and I remember that the hardest part for me was to understand Jonas, because like I didn't understand what he says. But now I in the company, people call me Jonas translator.
No,
because I'm the person who understands him.
Process on how to understand him, because he's one of the puppeteers. He should go to that, because he is able to speak without open his mouth. And then you keep like, what are you saying?
Exactly.
It's always a process with everybody.
Yeah, it is. Like you have to, like the intonation of the person, the vocabulary that the person uses, like it's a lot. I can see now it with Spanish, because since I'm learning Spanish constantly, like if there is someone new who is joining my life and I don't know how the person speaks Spanish, I cannot understand that person. But then when it's my friend speaking Spanish, I understand everything. So it's quite like a high contrast between how to understand people. So yeah. And yeah, when I entered in the office, I immediately see a couple of people that I knew from my university. And I'm like, okay, so there are like people from my university working here. And then I remember it was like, I think in a week, we accepted each other. Like I was very happy with the company and I wanted to try. And the company sent me the offer and everything went well.
Okay.
Of course, like if I thought about how my life will turn back in time, no. I didn't think that it would be like this. But then I was like, okay, let's try administrative assistant. Then administrative assistant turned more into the financial assistant, then more in the management perspective. So it is a process. And then this is how I ended being in Marbella, settling myself down there. Because now I can say that I'm settled in Marbella. Maybe in the future I will change something, like never say never. So yeah. And this is how I am in Marbella, in Spain, working for Blue.
But then let's make like a recap on everything that we just spoke about, because everything is kind of aligned. If you take out of the deep perspective and see the whole picture thing, you started doing public relations because you wanted to have a good position of power enough to impact in a good way the people's lives. And you do that today. On a smaller perspective, but you do that. I mean, you impact directly the culture of a company because you are in a position of power inside a company with what amount of headcount you have today? Like 50 people, 60 people?
46.
46 people. So you are about to impact the life of 45 people because you're the 46th. Yeah, and then you see that everything is kind of aligned. Even though you didn't went to what you first imagined, life turned in a way that you can do good things today. So you are in a position of power. You have an importance inside the company. You grew a lot with the company. You are one of the people responsible for constructing the culture we have today. Mm-hmm. And you are one of the people responsible for sharing it and cascading it down. So if we see the whole picture, it kind of happened.
Yes.
Have you ever thought about that?
Yeah, like that. This is what, when I reflect on some nights about my life, this is where I see myself because, yeah, like I'm in the amazing position where I have the power that I may not use. Because, like, I can choose if I want to have that power or if I don't want to have that power. And which power can I try to do today. Like, I may be good person, I may be someone who is guiding people, I might be someone who is delegating. So that is the great possibility for me and the opportunity where I have a choice. How to help people today. What would be the strategy for this person or for that person? And yeah, this is where I really think that it was not that the history was aligning or the stars were colliding in the best possible way, so I had my luck. I think it was something that I used to think of an idea, and I was unconsciously making the choices that brought me to that. So I would say it's like that when people are saying about like luck or being in the right place in the right time. I think it's not quite that. It's that you choose that. You choose that unconsciously sometimes. That's why you may think it's like a faith for yourself. But I think, no, it comes from the idea that you already have a goal or the vision that you will start choosing to do things like that. And you just need to be, you just need to do the hardest part of understand that.
And had the discipline to go through every single small step.
Exactly. Because you know what I needed to learn as well is that motivation is one day. Like I can be motivated today, but tomorrow I'm not going to be motivated. But discipline is what will keep you through every single day. So that's why between motivation and discipline, I would go with the discipline. It's harder.
Yes.
But it's harder. You have to learn it. You have to break yourself sometimes. You have to have a fight with yourself about discipline and be like, no, I know that today it might not change my life, but in the year, in 5 years, in 10 years, that will give me the result. You have to build that habit. You have to build that discipline. Because motivation is, I don't know, I can have a very successful meeting on something and be like, oh, I'm very motivated to get that. But tomorrow I will forget about this because meeting already passed. My emotions has changed. I went through another, I don't know, issue, a problem, another meeting. And then I'm like, my focus has been already moved from them being motivated on that part. But discipline, something that will always keep me go through that. So,
and it's very interesting because we can realize that it's something that is really through your veins. It's something that you live by. And today you're on a good position of managing people. How do you share that part, that vision with them? Because this is one of the most difficult part of being a leader, like leadership by example and being able to pull out good behavior on people that needs to follow, because of course there are other people with other beliefs, with other bunch of things that we already discussed previously, and how you are able to make these people see the discipline, see the self-motivation.
I can relate to my leader and I can have a good, trustworthy and open relationship with the manager. So this is what I have. And whenever, again, like I'm not getting ownership of being like a manager, of being a leader in the company. That's not for me. It's not important, like the position, whatever, naming and everything. What is important is that there are people below me that expect something. And I have to understand their expectations and give them what they're expecting. Or change their expectations and give them what is needed. So this is the concept that I live by in my manager's life.
Which is a very good standpoint. I mean, you have a bunch of things and actions. It's not easy because it's a lot of people with a lot of different beliefs, and you need to be leader enough to connect in a personal level so you can see how people see their lives and be able to pull out the proper direction within the company, because this is another challenge we have as leaders, that we need to pull out these two different things and correlate them on a way that one thing is going to make the other happen, because people are working because they have personal goals as well. So these two stuff must be well aligned, and we are the path. We write the path so people can just walk by and do things and grow on their perspectives. But amazing. I really enjoyed what you shared. Thank you for that.
No, that's the experience that I have been through. So I'm very happy to share it with people. And I hope that it will be like useful for someone. And if even like one person will enjoy it, that's already a result.
Yes.
So that's it. That is amazing.
And let me ask you one thing. Who are your heroes today?
Well, that's a very hard question because I think I've never thought in my life to have like a heroes or role models.
References?
That is a twisted concept, but for me, I was presented to the book once. The author is Joseph Campbell. It's the book that is called A Hero with 1,000 Faces.
Okay.
The concept of that book is that from Star Wars to animes to blockbusters, movies in Hollywood, to your personal life, there is the same path that you do. So there is a hero who is hearing some kind of a voice or some like a gut feeling that you have to start moving. And probably you are like a loser at the beginning. You have nothing. You don't know how to fight. You are afraid. You are like a loser, let's say. But then you meet like first demon, first problem, first issue, first thing. Then you may lose to that or you may fight, but you never stop. You go to all of those demons, then you go to all of these tricksters, then you're followed by, like, you're haunted, you're followed by some of the fears that you have, but you try to overcome it. You lose, you fight again, you lose, you fight again. You have your friends, then the friends become enemies, like everything happens the same. And then you get to the big boss, and then you're getting to the result where you're the hero of your life. So probably this is something that I can say I relate myself as the concept of the role model. I usually think that this is not the final boss. This is just another problem that I have to overcome. And my final battle is somewhere further where I will be able then to start the path again. Because after the final battle, you're just having a new status, position in life. New personality, maybe something has changed, and then this journey starts again. So I think that I would thought of my life in this concept instead of just picking up a person, because we've touched that before, that each person has like a good sides and the bad sides. Like, I don't think that I can relate to some person and be like, okay, look, I really enjoyed that. Because when I was the kid, maybe it was like a Disney star, but now that I'm grow up, I'm like, no, I'm not, I don't really think that the Disney stars are my role models. Maybe like I was obsessed with One Direction, and then I just choose another, the role model, another person that I can relate to. Then it's like, can be, maybe I was a kid, I was like thinking of Jack Sparrow, that is amazing. Now I'm like, okay, maybe Jack Sparrow is not the real good example of who can lead your life. So that is the thing. Like, I don't try to choose myself like a role model. I'm not living by that. I'm just thinking of my life in a different way, that, okay, look, there is the path, there is the goal, we get to there, whatever it is. If we don't want to get to that goal, we change the goal and get to something else. And then it starts over again. So this is where I see myself more. This is where I reflect instead of just choosing like someone that I really enjoy. Because like, look, Elon Musk does amazing things now. Maybe in the future he will stop doing this. Maybe he will become crazy in some points. Let's say, I don't know. We never know how it will be. And of course, there are some things that I can relate to him, some things that I'm like, I'm not really sure that this is the right way of treating people. But look, you're impacting the world. That is amazing that you give the freedom of speech. I truly support that. This is how it should be. But no, actually, in your own company, you don't do that. So it's like contradictory for me. So I'm not sure I can really choose someone that I will be like, I really like that person, really relate to that.
Everyone has two sides, right?
Yes.
Interesting. It's just about the environment you're with that person and which side this person is showing you. It's a different perspective of seeing things, and I really enjoyed it as well. So I have two last things for us to discuss. The first one would be, did I forget to make a question or something that you would like to share with us?
Well, I don't think so. I think that the idea of the conversation we had was very nice because it was organically involved from the whom you were as a child. And then we're here with the demons and the bad sides of a person, let's say. So yeah, like I think that is perfectly fine. And
it was all about how you became Jack Sparrow. Just kidding.
Yeah. that can go to the highlight.
Yes, that can go to the highlight because I think that it's the main proposition of these when we speak with other people across the company, because I mean, we relate each other, we speak to each other, we know each other for over 5 years,
Yes.
but we never get this kind of connection level. So whenever we are talking, even if we're being recorded, it's interesting because making the right questions, you start to think about several different things. Most of the things you never really stopped and thought about that. And it's a good way of reliving several different things you had on your story. And this is everything that I wanted from this episode, for people to get to know Alina better and connect with you somehow. So it was amazing, all of going through your whole story, realizing how you became the person you are today. Mm-hmm. If we make like a parallel, you're a very mature person, but you still have the same essence you had when you were a kid.
Yes.
So that's a very amazing thing, which is bringing the curiosity and essence to a mature perspective of life and being able to pull that out for other people to follow you and grow in their own lives, which is the position you have today. So, I mean, thank you a lot for sharing all of those.
No, thank you for having me. And yeah, like I think that the importance of the questions is undoubtable, because it's like yesterday we had a dinner, and remember, like in the dinner we started like, what would be the superpower that you choose? And
Yeah,
it's like
exactly.
a dumb, like a question from when you were a kid, but now that you're an adult and you have all this background in your experience, like you answer that question completely differently, and then you're like, oh, should I be invisible, or should I read the minds, or maybe something else? So it's like, it's something that is really cool to see. Like I'm the person who would be like, if you can be an animal, which animal would you choose? So yeah, like I'm that type of a kid still there. Like I can do like a presentation for the important things, like a quarter, I don't know, like an annual thing, and be like fully in the documents and all these processes. But then, like if you put me in Disneyland, I will be the annoying king that wants to go everywhere, that wants to try all the sweets. And
Okay.
this is the thing, and I really enjoy that mix. And I don't think that the person should be like just predetermined with one thing.
Uh-huh.
You can have all the aspects of yourself. You have to appreciate them. You have to love yourself first. That's
Yes.
something that I really agree that the people has to focus on a lot. That the way you are is amazing, but if you think that there is something that you don't like in yourself, or you are afraid to bring up, because like the podcast is something that will highlight the good sides and the bad sides of yourself, because you are just genuinely open, and there will be different things that can come up and pop up in the conversation. And if you don't like something, if you don't like the way you look, or if you don't like what you say, like just try to change it, because you can always do that. And don't really stop where you are. Just be like, oh, I'm not satisfied with that. I'm not satisfied with this. No, you just change that and get satisfied. So this is something that I really enjoy. And this is the importance of the genuine and conversation and getting to know each other better. Because by that we can connect. We can connect the companies. We can connect, bring Brazil and Europe together. That is an amazing thing. And I really enjoy the synergy that we do sometimes. It's quite fulfilling and satisfying to see the results that we're achieving.
And I can't tell it better. I feel the same, and I really appreciate all of the conversation, everything you shared, the perspective you have. I really take part on most of your vision about life and stuff, so I do that on my life as well, so it's a very interesting thing. And one last thing, maybe you already did, but it's something that I always end asking, which is for you to give us a very distinguished advice that you could have the power to change the life of someone who's watching us.
Well, I think I'm not going to be the original here, and I would be like, if something is not working, try to do it differently, and just try to find that one way of doing things right, or the way you want it. Like, be the one who has this spark and go for it. Like, if you think of something, try to achieve it. Just don't stop. Don't think it's not for you. Just go and do that. And if you cannot do that, just change something.
Yeah, try it again.
Try it again.
Differently.
Yes, that's the thing. So yeah, keep that spark in yourself. Spark that will make you move forward, because this is very important, moving forward in your life.
That's amazing, and I could not tell it better as well. Thank you once again. So I think that would be all for today. I'm really happy. Yeah, motivated, happy, because this is something that I really enjoy doing, and I really like when I speak to someone that my vision, my life is kind of aligned with. It's something that bring up a lot of energy, so you end up the episode quite energized, which is as I'm feeling right now. So I really appreciate everything that we shared here today.
Thank you a lot. Thank you for this. It was like a very interesting experience for myself, because I've never been on a podcast. I've never given the interview. So I'm feeling like now a very new thing happened in my life, and I feel great about it, because I like doing new things, and that is amazing. Thank you for giving me the safe space where I can share myself. And I really hope that even at least one person will be happy with that, and it will change his life, or maybe give him a piece of motivation or a piece of advice that he was missing or she was missing in the life. I would be really happy about it. So
that's just amazing. No, it is our pleasure to have you here, not only in Brazil, but having this special episode with you and your story and everything you shared.
Great.
So that's it, guys. This is all for today. I hope that the conversation we had today might sum up a little, even if it's a little bit, to your knowledge. We already get satisfied with it, because that's all what life is about: sharing knowledge and helping people to be better every single day. I want to make the final disclaimer that we record everything on Blue Space Podcast Studio. So if you're looking to have the same opportunity as we had today, you can rent this place and fill up the same energy that we just shared. So you can build up authority for yourself or the entity you're representing. So that is a very good tool that you can use yourself to be better and build authority for you or the entity you're representing. So if you don't know where to start, just look for us. We'll have the contact on the description of the video. Look for us, and that's all for today. Thank you again, Alina.
Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. And that's it, guys.